attention. Hello, man. Have your attention. Hello. Have your attention. Hello. Good. Hello. Check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Check. Okay, we're all set. May I have your attention, please? 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 We're going to be quick. We don't want to tie you up. We're going to be quick. Curtis, come on up here, Curtis, come on up here. Curtis, come on up here. Anyway, I read the position of Tiffany. I read the position of our council member. It's too loud? Muted. I don't know. Elmo, what's wrong here?
What's up? Good evening.
Mic check. Check. Mic check. Check. There you go.
All right, is this better? Yes. Okay. I read the position of Tiffany Caban, our council member. Nowhere does she mention public safety. Just think of that. Nowhere does she mention public safety. That is the government's top priority, is that we should be kept safe in our own community, and she doesn't mention it anywhere. She was putting out flyers that the police are not always nice people. She says if you have a problem, try to resolve it. Don't call the police. This is who represents our community. I never imagined that would happen to our community in Astoria. Joe DiPietro, you know what he said to me? He said, Peter Malone, George Honorado, Dennis Butler could never get elected today if they were to run for office, because our voters are off the wall. Look who they're electing. Am I right, Joe? It's sad. We have a chance to change things around. November 7th, we have a chance. And everyone who doesn't get involved is to blame for what's happening in our community. My neighbor got robbed at gunpoint recently.
Here we go.
They put a gun in his face and robbed him. You know what I said to him? Those guys who robbed you have a long record. And they're on the street because of voters for letting these politicians, for voting in these politicians who want to close the prisons and defund the police. That's why we're having a problem. Anyway, let me introduce quickly before I introduce our keynote speaker, Joe DiPietro, President of the Italian Federation. Now, Joe is going to do everybody a big favor today. He's going to speak in English, not in Italian, because I sent them this. There's not, there are non-Italian speaking people in there. I think you look real pretty in your uniform, Joe.
Yo.
Anyway, we are at a very difficult time. Unfortunately, it seems that everybody says, oh, why should I bother to vote? I don't understand that part. In some countries, people risk their life to go out and vote. Now, it's no question of voting from this personal perspective. We have a wonderful lady running, Kelly, running for city councilman, and you get all these people, oh, why should I bother to vote? Well, if you don't want to vote, don't complain. Eat crow. Simple. This is a terrible situation. I mean, like George said, they found the cops, close Rikers Island, no help for mental people. Some of these people need help. I mean, they're not really criminal, they need mental help. But what are we doing? Nothing. The former mayor, he had $1 billion that was supposed to be devoted to mental health. The more it disappeared, nobody knows, what was it? 3 pennies disappeared. We're talking about $1 billion that disappeared. But anyway, let's not go into particular. It's very important. November 9th? 7. Okay, go to 9, it's better. November 7, go to the poll, vote, ask your friend, push them to vote. It's very important. Thank you, have a fine evening.
Thank you, Joe. Our message is very simple and clear. You got to go out. You got to go out and vote. You got to get your friends to go out and vote. From what I understand, only 12%. Kelly, am I correct? Only 12% of the registered voters voted in the last election. That's why the wrong people are getting elected. The great majority isn't getting elected. I want to thank Sweet Spot for their support here, always supporting us. I want to thank the 114 precinct for their continual support. When you have an emergency, they're the first ones that are going to come running to your assistance, not the politicians. I wanted to do a big ad. I spoke to lawyers. I wanted to do a big ad in our local papers. If you have an emergency, call the politicians and put their cell numbers down. Not the police, call the politicians. And I was told by lawyers, you'll get sued. But I wanted to get their cell phones, see if they like that. They wouldn't. Anyway, let me introduce our candidate, the next council member of our community. If you all go on and vote for her, she'll win. Kelly, come on up, Kelly.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? I think I'm louder, so. I do. I want to thank Sweet Spot. Harry's been very, very supportive. This is our second fundraiser here. They've been great. So I want to thank George Dellis, who I met when I decided to run, who's been championing my policies ever since. And we have a huge team. We have almost 50 volunteers, which is amazing, and some of them are here today. I'm honored to have so much support and that you're all here today as well. Politics aside, because I feel like, we're building a coalition of Democrats, Republicans, Independents, because this isn't about politics anymore. This is about our community. And one of the reasons why I decided to run, and I'm not a politician, is because everyone is hurting. Everybody is struggling. We have business owners that are here that are losing their businesses. We have homeowners that are struggling with taxes that they can't keep up with. We have co-op owners that have to deal with increases in their maintenance that they might not be able to afford. We have dirty streets. We have 26% increase in crime. And we have a city councilwoman, regardless of policy or politics, who does not answer the phone. She doesn't answer the phone. She has no person in the office that works for her out of her 7-member staff that's from this community. What does that say? That says she doesn't care about our community. She cares about becoming whatever next politician she wants to become. Every time we see her, she's in a different district. She's championing other socialist policies and ideologies that don't match the needs of the people of this community, and people are tired of it. I have been to so many different parts of this community. I've been to the Astoria houses. I meet with them, they're upset. They need a community center for their teens. Their teens are getting into trouble. They have nothing to do. The Boys and Girls Club isn't assisting with the teen groups, and they're advocating for a community center. And they are not getting any answers, and they're not getting any help. They used to have transportation for the kids. They used to go to the Variety Boys and Girls Club. And right now, they're struggling because their teens are getting into trouble. And we all know that without having something to do, it's very easy to get into trouble. And they're calling Tiffany Caban. She promises. She comes in, shakes everybody's hands, stands on a soapbox, but doesn't do anything. And then she leaves. And then I go to another community, and I hear the same thing. We're losing our Walgreens. We just lost the bank. The streets are filthy. Our co-op maintenance is going up. And we call and we ask for our city council person to advocate on behalf, and she's not answering the phone. Again, she comes in, she makes promises, and then she leaves. And this is our community, and this is something that we really need to come together and fight back on. Doesn't matter what policies are trickling down. There's other communities that are working with the district attorney, they're working with community councils, community affairs to help the local businesses. They're coming together as a community because there's power in numbers. And that's what we need to do. We have to stop being divided by politics, divided by ideology, and we need to bring our community together. We need to work together so that we can fight the rising crime, we can fight businesses ended up closing. I know that there's something going on 31st Avenue. Whether you're a bike person or not, it is not fair not to involve the entire community and important stakeholders in decisions that affect what's going on in our neighborhood. So that's one of the reasons why I'm running. I'm happy to answer any questions. I love the support. I'm really grateful for it. And we do have a movement that's building. It's very important that we all go out and vote. I know I talk to people and they say, why should I vote? And I have a really silly story, if you guys would bear with me. Yes? So it's a story, okay. So Farmer Brown has a farm. And there's a mouse, a chicken, and a pig. And the mouse comes in to the hen house and he says, listen, Farmer Brown put a mouse trap on the farm. And everybody says to the mouse, well, that's your problem. You're the mouse. There's a mouse trap, who cares? So the next day, Farmer Brown's wife gets bit by a snake that was caught in the mouse trap. So she gets sick, Farmer Brown takes care of her, and all of a sudden he says, I need to make her some chicken soup. So he goes down, there goes the chicken, right? And then the next day he says, okay, I need help taking care of this farm because my wife's sick, so I need to feed the workers. I'm gonna make some ham sandwiches. There goes the pig. Then he says, Farmer Brown's wife apparently dies. He has to have a funeral, he has a lot of people coming, he has to feed all these people, and then he goes and he has to go get the cow. So what happened from the mousetrap? You lost the chicken, you lost the pig, and you lost the cow. So even though I'm sitting here telling you we have a mousetrap in Astoria, I'm telling you, if you don't think it's going to affect you, you're going to wake up one day and it's actually going to affect you. It's either going to be crime, it's going to be cost of living, it's going to be taxes, and I'm really tired of hearing everybody say to me, I'm just going to put my house up for sale and I'm going to move. This is our community. It's filled with beautiful people that built this community, and I want to champion the policies that will affect our community and help it grow and be the vibrant community it always has been. And thank you all for coming, and I'm here and I'm happy to talk to you. Anybody else want to speak?
Very well said. Is this Q&A time?
Yes, I'll do Q&A.
What do you think about the amount of money being allocated? Certain things that are really unnecessary.
How so? Amount of money allocated towards what specific?
Yeah, digging up
Yes.
half of the streets,
Yes.
and there's homeless people creating problems in the neighborhood.
So his question is how do I feel about what's being allocated and different parts of what the money's being spent on? Of Astoria.
That's what we're talking.
Yes. So I believe there's a problem with some, you're talking about what's going on 23rd Avenue. They're fixing
Talking
it.
about all of this.
But when it comes to allocating resources to mental health, that's my #1 priority.
Can't digging up the neighborhood. Digging up both.
Yeah, they are fixing the streets, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
These are issues that happen, you know, the city is growing. Up on 31st Street, they built this huge building. You saw this huge building? I'm not against new development. You can't stop it. It's for progress. But the sewer systems have to be enlarged. The water pipes have to be enlarged. So it's the infrastructure that Orlando's talking about. Anyway, I want to thank George Rivera. Where's George Rivera? That handsome fellow over there. I wanted George to run some years ago.
Thanks.
And I said, George, you should be running. You got charm, but you know what his problem is? He's shy. You can't be shy, son. If you want to run, come on. There's a fellow here with a red beret. I wear a black beret. Are you done, Kelly? You like to say something? You all know our champion, Curtis Lee.
Thank you, George. First off, just following up on what Kelly said, even if you wanted to sell your house, 7.75%, soon to be 8%, try to get a buyer for your house or your property. Not going to be easy. So you gotta fight for what you know is right. You gotta improve and not move. That's an old philosophy that has existed for years. And so remember, this community is worth fighting for. This entire campaign, as campaigns around the city, it's all about quality of life issues. Every campaign I'm involved with, it's quality of life issues. It's moderate versus socialist. Forget the party labels. Tiffany Caban is a socialist. She is not a Democrat. Not a Democrat. I don't hate Democrats. I come from a Democratic family. Some of my colleagues, they despise Democrats, and I tell them, you want to win elections, you better get moderate Democrats. Because especially in New York City, you can fit all the Republicans in a closet. You would need Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, Barclays Center, and Madison Square Garden, and you'd still need extra room for the moderate Democrats. There are way more moderate Democrats than there are socialists. But the socialists are young, they're aggressive, they get out there early, they do retail politics, and then because they're young and frisky with high levels of estrogen and testosterone, they party till the break of dawn, which is what young people want to do, so they keep coming back for more and more. Too many of you are like me. You got to take Geritol, right? You're there like George for the blue plate special. You know, the broiled trout, away a few veggies, a few potatoes, and that's it for him. He's stung God the rest of the night. So you understand, this is not about Democrat versus Republican. This is about, very simply, quality of life issues. And whether a moderate is better at dealing with it, Kelly Klingman, than the socialist who's had 4 years now to prove to you. Have things gotten better? I walk around Astoria, I wonder, what the hell happened to Astoria? First of all, this cheap brown paper that's in all the windows of the commercial establishments. My God, I used to use that brown paper to cover my books. As book covers, if you didn't have enough coin to get, Superman or Superwoman book covers. It doesn't look good. It brings the whole neighborhood down. The garbage, the graffiti, homeless people that nobody's caring for. What's Tiffany Caban doing? There was a woman there every day collecting money, hunched over, right there at Ditmars, and I kept coming. Every time I kept coming here for Kelly Clinton, I said, is Tiffany Caban come here of any of her age? Have anybody tried to help you? No. So they're very good at going on the attack, but they're not good at doing what a city councilwoman is supposed to do. Constituent service. It's what's going on in the community. Everything else is of no importance. For some of you old timers, you remember the runoff election between Ed Koch and Mario Cuomo? You know what was decided on? The death penalty. What the hell would a mayor ever be able to determine if there's death penalty or not, right? And yet, people blindly made decisions based on, well, he's pro-death penalty, he's anti-death penalty. How stupid is that? This is not an election that deals with international issues or national issues or regional issues. It's about the here and now of Astoria and the future of Astoria. So you got to put blinders on and explain to people. You see that graffiti? Did you see that graffiti before? Was garbage here all over the place? Did we have homeless and emotionally disturbed who were in need of care? Care. Well, who's out there caring for these people? You pay taxes. As was mentioned before, you had Conrad de Blasio, the part-time mayor of the Dalton Park Slope, who was too busy smoking Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush at night with Charlene. $1.5 billion of our tax dollars to help the mentally ill. Not one was helped. Not one. Not one. And yet they're all out there, lost souls, in desperate need of care. You have to have city council people who are going to say that's priority one. We need to care for these people. I don't care what your politics is. We need to take care of our homeless. We need to take care of our emotionally disturbed. And I know that Kelly Klingman will prioritize it here, especially if that man or woman were a veteran and served our country in peacetime or wartime. They better get priority treatment. And they're not. They're not. The difference is Kelly has ties to the community. She is not running on a national agenda. Tiffany Caban is following in the footsteps of AOC. There's a national agenda there for the socialists. This is not a national agenda race. Also, it's about affordable housing. What has anybody done in this city about affordable housing in the last 4 years? Including my own fellow Republicans. Nothing. It's talked about. We know it's a priority for everybody. Nothing gets done. Kelly is in the business. She understands it inside out. I've talked with council people about affordable housing. Most of them, quite frankly, it's not in their wheelhouse. They're not experienced about it. They don't know how affordable housing gets built. They don't know what's the need of the people who need the housing, the builders, how they get compensated, the workers, the whole 9 yards. So when you look at poll after poll, the people of New York City are saying affordable housing, number one. Quality of life issues, number two. And crime. Oh my God. You used to come to Astoria and you used to say, boy, this is a neighborhood that does not have serious crime. Maybe a lot of white collar crime, maybe crime in terms of gambling, out of sight, out of mind, but not the kind of violent crime that is plaguing your community. For instance, on the corner of Astoria Boulevard and Steinway, there was a shootout. Remember that shootout? Still no arrests. I go to the proprietor of the business. This is a week later. I walk up, there are bullet holes in the window. I said, well, why? How come you haven't replaced that window? This is like the broken windows theory, right? If you leave the bullet holes in the window and people are passing by and they're feeling it and touching it and actually they're taking selfies, how much crime there is in Astoria, that window should have been replaced the next day. The 114th precinct, they'll go about trying to resolve the crime. But if you are not taking care of your property or the feel of your neighborhood, that piece of graffiti that goes up and isn't taken down, it's going to be replicated over and over. And if you're going to wait for 311 to get a response, I'm telling you, put your finger, have a Bengay back. It ain't happening. 311 was created by Michael Bloomberg because he thought as a billionaire this will get you service. You know what this gets you? Ugats. is get you bupkis. The city council person is the person who is supposed to be providing the local services and making sure that if city agencies are not at your beck and call, that she becomes a pain in their tuchus. So much so, they get cauliflower ear that they come. They come. I don't care what the issue is. It's persistence. It's being relentless. It's fighting for your constituents no matter what their political ideology is, no matter what party they're in. And one thing I know about Kelly, you could be a member of the DSA, you could be a member of the Democratic Party, you could be a member of the Republican. It wouldn't matter to her. You could be a blank, what they call blank. What an insult that is. An independent. She's going to be there to serve you. She is the first candidate ever to run on the animal welfare party line. Animal welfare. Now, I'd like any of the socialists to tell me, wait a second, they don't have a plank that deals with animals. Mahatma Gandhi said, a society that does not care for its animals does not care for its people. Look at the streets. Look at the subways. You think there's no synergy there? We have shelters where we're killing dogs and cats that can be easily adopted and cared for by people who are in need of a family member or a friend. Well, Di and Nancy, as you know, we view the pets that we rescue from the shelter who are scheduled to be destroyed, executed as family members. This is what a society does. It cares for its people, it cares for its elderly, its homeless, its veterans, and its animals. And I know in having conversation after conversation with Kelly that she believes that. So, if you can't vote for her on her party line, guess what? You vote for her on the animal welfare line. First time we've ever had a candidate on the animal welfare line. Let's give her a great round of applause. And those are the easiest signatures to get. Getting signatures for DSA or Democrat, or getting signatures for Working Family Party or Conservative or Republicans, difficult. The moment we went around with that animal welfare, where can I sign up? The line went down the block. Why? Because people understand, people who care about animals are compassionate people and are going to care about you, the constituents. So we got to mobilize. Early voting takes place 10 days before. Because probably the age of our voters is more like my age, 69, and less like Tiffany Caban's voters' ages, 29, 30, although we have some young folks in there too. But let's face it, if we gotta get buses and vans and carpools, let's get our voters so that they can cast their vote before Election Day in case something comes up and they can't get to the voting polls. But we gotta mobilize. The socialists are mobilized. I watch them. I've observed them. I was raised on Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals by a radical father in a Democratic Union household, where on the wall was a picture of Jesus Christ, the Blessed Virgin Mother Mary, Pope John Paul, JFK, and Barack Obama. And I said to my father and mother, hey, Dad, you're from Chicago. You raised me on Abraham Lincoln. I said, can you even put a $5 bill up on that wall? He said, no Republican votes up on my wall. Hardcore. He wasn't a Giuliani Democrat. He wasn't a Reagan Democrat. But everybody is to be a free agent. That's the way our politics should be. Best man, best woman for the job. Not based on a party line or party politics. Who is going to provide constituent service to Astoria to bring her back to her grandeur, to her greatness, when everyone felt safe and looked forward to coming on the W or the N train or driving off the Grand Central Parkway. This was the crown jewel of Queens. It isn't that way any longer. It can be that way again. But let's all coalesce together and get out that vote for Kelly Klingman and send Tiffany Caban out on the road for the Socialists of America, because she spends half the time there instead of here. Thank you. Thank you.
Michael Henry's here. He ran for Attorney General for New York State, and he lives in Astoria. He's a long-time Astoria And he'd like to say a few words too in support, which is great. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, actually, yes, I did run against Tish James last year. Came close, but not close enough. One of the reasons I am here is because I do live in this community, and what's gone on in the New York City Council is atrocious. I actually live right around the corner from Tiffany Caban. There's a reason her office is empty, because she doesn't go to work. And the one way Kelly's going to have an opportunity to win this election is by people mobilizing and mobilizing early. Tiffany Caban is not a hard worker. And what everybody in this room has to do is to commit that on the first day of early voting, you get out and vote, and every day of early voting, you try to bring 3 to 5 people. There is no mayor's race this year, so this election can be determined by a handful of votes. And the only way we're going to do that is by catching her by surprise. She's going to show up on election day in a panic once she realizes that everybody has been getting out and getting the vote. And this is a simple thing. This is not Republican, this is not Democrat. The reality of the situation is, if you walk around this neighborhood or this city, you have people on the city council that are asking you to subsidize the room and board, education, healthcare costs for people who you don't even know who they are. You have people coming into this city right now, we don't know if they're on a terrorist watch list, we don't know if they have health issues, we don't know if they're criminals. You need people that are going to represent this city properly, and Kelly has the experience in the private sector. She's not a career politician. She's somebody that's coming into this to do this the right way and to represent people, and she's giving up a lot to do this, so everybody needs to do what they can to support her and help her get across the finish line, because this is a winnable race in an off-year election with no mayor's race at the top.
Thank you everyone for coming, and I'm here if you want to stay and ask me questions. But again, thank you all for your support. Thank you.